disruptive.
America that I fought for.
Weird thing to happen. Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Kitz Corner. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So guess what? The Pentagon admitted they made an oops again. And here I thought the biggest oops was continuing to give money to the Pentagon and even having a Defense Department, or calling it the Defense Department, because what are they defending? What are they defending? Capital. That's it. They're not defending you. They're not defending national security. Nothing. There's no security whatsoever, because insecure people make the best customers when it comes to the military alliance. At least that's what I heard a contractor say openly on camera. I wish I had that clip there. But, yeah, there's nothing to do with national security. So, what is the oops that they made again, and why are we continuing to give them more money? Because apparently the Pentagon found more money in an accounting error. We still don't know about the $21 trillion that mysteriously got away and they have no record of. But they were able to get record of $6.2 billion that they finally found. According to ABC News, it says Pentagon accounting error provides an extra $6.2 billion for Ukraine military aid. So they found extra money, but it's not going to defend the country. It's going to defend another country. It's going to defend the proxy war. Because again, capital. The Pentagon says it's overestimated the value of the weapons it has sent to Ukraine by $6.2 billion over the past 2 years, resulting in a surplus that will be used for future security packages. $6.2 billion. I wonder how much it would take to just take $6.2 billion, or even just half of that, and give it to the largest cities of America to invest in infrastructure and to invest in homeless shelters and invest in education, invest in the hospitals that are crumbling. If they took a portion of that, but they're going to give it to a bunch of the most corrupted nation in East Europe to go slaughter more people, because as is revealed by our BlackRock expose that James O'Keefe found out about, is BlackRock and other investors are promoting bloodshed because bloodshed is good for business. So it said, the Pentagon said on Tuesday that it overestimated the values of the weapons it has sent to Ukraine by $6.2 billion over the past 2 years, about double early estimates, resulting in a surplus that will be used for future security packages. Pentagon spokeswoman Sabrina Sine signed a detailed review of the accounting error, found that the military services used replaced costs rather than the book value of equipment that was pulled from Pentagon stocks and sent to Ukraine. She said final calculations show there was an error of $3.6 billion in the current fiscal year and $2.6 billion in the 2022 fiscal year, which ended last September 30th. As a result, the department now has additional money in its covers to use to support Ukraine and its pursues to counteroffense against Russia. It has come to a fiscal year is wrapping up and congressional funding was being to be dwindled. It's just going to go back into the pot of money that they already allocated for future Pentagon stock drawdowns, said Singh. Revelations come as Ukraine moves ahead with the early stages of its counteroffense in an effort to dislodge the Kremlin's forces from territory they've occupied since a full-scale invasion in February 2022. The counteroffense has come against heavily mined terrain and reinforced defense fortifications, according to I can't even pronounce that name, the commander-in-chief of Ukraine's armed forces. Russia, meanwhile, has been bombarding the Kiev region with dozens of exploding drones in an assault that has been exposed gaps in the country's air protection for almost 16 months of war. Officials say Ukrainian air defenses downed 32 of 35 drones that were launched by Russia earlier Tuesday. The Pentagon has repeatedly used presidential drawdown authorities to pull weapons, ammunition, and other equipment off the shelves so they can get to Ukraine far more quicker than going through a purchase process or having diplomacy, which would actually resolve all this. So, again, it goes to show you that, you know, the United States really has top priorities. First, it's the war machine. We got to create chaos and bloodshed and tyranny around the world. And then our second priority is Wall Street. Make sure the bankers are okay. Our third is the oil and gas tycoons. Make sure they're safe. 4 is paying off politicians, giving them an advancement, giving them more paychecks and time off. And then somewhere down the line, maybe eventually you'll get crumbs for the rest of the people. You know, the ones that actually go in 9 to 5 and run this country. You may actually get a crumb at some point, but we haven't decided yet. So, $6.2 billion. Because they overestimated, they made accounting error. But again, there's no investigation on the $21 trillion that they've lost. There's no investigation on what the money they're using to send to Ukraine, what it's being used for, who it's going to, if it's going to the right hands. Is it going to the neo-Nazis? Because mainstream media confirmed back in the day that neo-Nazis were surrounding in Ukraine. We were training alongside neo-Nazis, and then all of a sudden this war happened. Now all of a sudden neo-Nazis are the greatest thing in the world. It goes to show you how easily duped the media can get in times of war. And I just want to show this video again of how this is collapsing our own empire. And this is how all empires end, is that you extend militarily so far out that people inside your nation, inside the country, inside the superpower of America is collapsing, is crumbling. There's a homelessness epidemic. There's miles-long lineups at food shelters. There's people that are scavenging for needs of survival in one of the richest nations on the face of the earth. Hospitals are deteriorating. Infrastructure is breaking down. It's a just absolute atrocity that's happening in our own backyard. And that $6.2 billion that they just found, that they could easily give back to the nation and help our national security by investing in the people, investing in infrastructure, helping those people get jobs and accessible health care and education and Medicare for all this stuff that would actually grow the nation and help things get better. They refuse to do so. They refuse to do so because the war machine, BlackRock, Vanguard, all these international conglomerates are so heavily invested in the tyranny and the complete atrocity of this proxy war. And I just want to show people this video again of what it's doing to people in your own backyard.
Congress taking quick action, approving a $13 billion deal to help Ukraine.
School districts across our area tell us they're seeing significant increases in children that are homeless.
I'm announcing another $800 million to further augment Ukraine.
A revealing look at homelessness among the middle class.
U.S. have announced new military assistance for Ukraine. They've promised an extra $713 million.
We experienced as a county a 22% increase in homelessness.
The Senate overwhelmingly passing a new $40 billion Ukraine aid bill.
We are learning the homeless problem we are seeing in Knoxville is growing at an alarming rate.
The U.S. is sending an additional $700 million in military aid.
We're in dire straits. We don't know where we're going to go. We have no savings.
The U.S. is sending an additional $1 billion in weapons and aid to Ukraine.
The CEO of the Coalition for the Homeless of Central Florida tells me this is a scary trend.
Pentagon announcing today it's sending a new $450 million military package to Ukraine.
Tonight we are going in depth on the issue of homelessness. Of course, a growing problem here in Colorado.
The U.S. sending an additional $400 million in military aid.
Rising housing costs and inflation are leading to more people living on the street.
The United States is sending another $1 billion in military aid.
69,000. That's how many people are homeless across LA County.
A new aid package is going to be announced tomorrow, including an additional $3 billion to train and equip Ukrainian forces.
Sacramento's homeless population had a jump of 67%.
The White House now asking Congress for more than $13 billion in additional military aid.
More than 2,500 students within the district don't have a place to call home.
Yeah, Katie, and that's 1,000 more from last year.
Well, the Biden administration preparing to send another $600 million military package to Ukraine.
There's a stark warning from city officials tonight as they're seeing a record number of families out on the streets.
$275 million to meet Ukraine's critical security and defense needs.
One LA County city is close now to declaring a state of emergency over homelessness.
The White House is also asking for $37.7 billion to fund the war in Ukraine.
Housing prices are up 17% from the previous year, and you can see the fallout of that just right behind me here.
Just saying $6.2 billion that they just randomly found. And then they go and tell you that there's no money for healthcare, there's no money for infrastructure, there's no money for good education, there's no money for good jobs, increasing wages. There's no money for anything that would actually help the country. But there's definitely money to send off to another country so they can go and slaughter a bunch of other people that doesn't even have to exist. That's America for you. That's North America for you. That's the entire billionaire elite system. That's their priorities there. Is they rather slaughter people overseas and spend billions and billions of dollars, waste billions and billions of dollars on bloodshed that they know that this is not going to be a winnable war, and they don't want a winnable war. They just want to continue this on further and further, just like Julian Assange has always pointed out. Rather than actually investing back here at home, that would actually be a massive increase to economically. It would be a massive increase economically. It would be a massive increase to our structure. We would make actually our national security greater by investing in our own people. But they rather not do that. And that's like it says, the recipe for a collapse of an empire. That was from Turncoat Dawn. And that's exactly what is happening here. And the even sadder part is in Canada, we also have a homelessness epidemic, but the even sadder part is in Canada, they'd probably deem most of those homeless people mentally ill and they just put them on MAID. Because out of sight, out of mind. Like that's the craziness of this. And the United States just spends billions and billions of dollars creating more disasters and putting themselves more in debt by not actually investing in people. And that's what people are realizing, that, providing healthcare is not a waste of money. It's not, the evil socialism and how crazy and communism it is. It's an investment, people. It's investing in your own people so that your country can actually strive and do better and be greater in the world scale. If we actually had smart, healthier, more productive people, which we can do with better jobs, better technology, better infrastructure, better healthcare, better schooling, if we had all that, we would actually have more of a chance to stand on the world stage. This is why other countries are, way smarter, way more advanced. China's flourished in their technology that they're spending more into Africa and investing in those people. What have we done? We invested in war. We go and spend money to tell a bunch of other people to slaughter these people and then let them slaughter each other while we laugh ourselves to the bank. That's the priority, the bloodthirst priority of the West. And it's continuing on, and it's dwindling down to us, and it's continuing to collapse inside our own nation while this is going on. And they're cheering about the fact that, oh, accountability error. Now we got $6.2 million more extra to give to the most corrupted nation in East Europe. But there's still no money for healthcare. There's still no money for good infrastructure. There's still no money to get clean water, which is the most essential thing you can do as a government, as a body of representing people. The least you can do is provide clean water, but there's no money for it. Imagine they gave that money to Flint and Jackson, Mississippi, and all these other places that don't even have access to sustainable clean water. Just how better that would be. But they refuse to do so. So the biggest error is still continuing to give money to the Pentagon. The biggest error that people are realizing is having a Defense Department. That's the biggest error and mistake that continues to dwindle on. And we're getting the burn of it.